Hey everyone, welcome back to Common Frontline. Jay here from the future, 5 years later, to review Superman Futures End #1. The title of this issue is Crossroads. It is written by Sholly Fisch with art by Pascal, Alixe, and Vicente Cifuentes. The story, it opens up with Clark working in pretty much a desert like soil, because there's nothing there, there's no nutrients, it's just dead soil. And he's trying to plant plants, and he's saying, we've had rough summers back home. He's telling this guy, and he was like, all it takes is, the right type of thing, and I'm sure we can get this working. And he's trying to do it. And this is the Clark that we saw from the last issue of Futures End, where number 17, where he has the beard and he's not Superman. He's not clean shaven. This is rugged Clark. And then this sand creature you see forming or take a form, and then we get visions of these three different individuals, and we find out who they are later on. As the story goes, the sand we have a girl who is about to jump off a building to commit suicide because she says she can't take it anymore. And as she jumps, she finds out that she's flying. And then we have a guy who's getting beat up by sort of like a mobster's hitman type, the guy who goes to collect things for bookies and all that. And he finds that he is super strong when he punches the guy and almost knocks his face off. And then we have a woman who's being abused, and her son steps up and is like, stop. And the father goes to hit the son, and he can't hit him. The kid just stands there, and he's like, I don't feel anything. And the father's like, I knew you're a freak, and he leaves the mother. So the little boy saved his mother. And then we see the the crook, the guy who's getting beat down by the collector. It's like thinking he can really use this to make money off of it, and he decides he's going make money off of this, while his friend's like, you don't know, you should do this, you should stop. And at the same time, this sand person is barely a person at this point. There's no features or anything really. It's just like a shape. It's visiting the people that granted powers to. First one was the girl. He said, you saw how it's from up here and how it could be to live up here. Now you have to see how beautiful it is down there, and get help. He takes away the gift of flight. He goes to the guy who punched the wall, and he's a little bit more firmer now. He's got shape to him, and you can see that it's sort of Superman's body that he has. And the guy punched the wall, and his fist starts to break. And he's like, that's the problem with having strength but not invulnerability. And he tells the guy, basically you don't have it, and he takes it back from him, the power that he gave him, the strength. And he tells him, go seek help at the hospital. Then he goes to the mother and the son, and he tells the kid, you showed great compassion with your power. I granted you, I'm taking it away from you. Then he talks to the mother, and he tells her, will you do the same for your son stepped up and saved you. Will you do the same and save him? While your husband's gone, will you, seek help? And she's like, oh, well, he just gets mad when he drinks. And he was like, your son stepped up and saved you. Would you do no less for him? And then we see at the hospital, all three of these people are meeting up. The guy who broke his hands getting treated. The girl who tried to commit suicide is seeking help. And the little boy and his mom are there to find help also, because they want to get out of the bad situation of abuse. Then we go back to Clark, who's planning, and this mysterious figure says that, he doesn't know exactly where he came from. It might have been a leftover from Mr. Plitolek, from the fifth dimension and all that, or something. He's not sure. But as he passed on these powers, he learned a little something, and he grew stronger by learning these things. And then he said, "I'm strong enough to do one last gift." And he goes up and he basically makes it so like these little seeds all hit all over, and the ground becomes fertile again. It's still rough. It still needs water and all that, but it's fertile. And it clicked something in Clark's head that maybe it's time for him to do something with his powers now, because Clark did say that he was unwilling to use his powers because of the he you could tell that he misused them somehow in his head. So I think my theory from the live show this week is a little bit true, that he stepped over one of his lines and he did something he's not proud of, and this is a self-imposed exile. The story, I really liked it. It was a really nice story. So far, Future's End, the event is off to a great start. I mean, we are seeing 5 years later. This kind of ties in with the last issue of Future's End, and I really like it. I find myself really enjoying this story because it hits like the heart of who Superman is. This is who Superman is. He's not that imposing godlike figure that we've seen in the New 52 so far, who feels like when you look at him, you just feel like he's above you. This is the guy who I know as Superman, the guy who gets down there with his hands and is one with everyone. And the fact that he's coming to his realization that he needs to use his powers again and all that, I just love it, because this is who I feel Superman is. And I'm loving to see this again. This was a really strong issue. The art wasn't that great though, but I'm going to get to that later. The story though, I'm giving the story a solid 4.5 stars. It's very good. A few things could have been a little bit more clear, like exactly what Clark has done, but I understand why they didn't do it, and exactly who the same thing was. But it was a great story. So 4.5 stories for the story. 4.5 stars for the story. The art, I think, was kind of rough in certain places, but I did like that. Like, you kind of get that the girl who's trying to commit suicide was Donna Troy, maybe because she's got the stars on her shirt. So it kind of hints to it could be that, but it was a nice little touch with the art. But there was just details that were lacking in it. So I'm only going to give the art 3.5 stars. Now, overall, very good issue. I'm giving it 4 stars. I really liked Action Comics Future's End #1. And this is one of the ones I was really worried about. I highly recommend you go and pick it up. This is a nice, human tying story for Superman. This really ties him down to his humanity. And that is what is at the key of all good Superman stories, is his humanity. Yes, he's the superpower Kryptonian, but at the core, he is Clark Kent, and that's what this book is about. So I say go pick it up. Well, those are my thoughts. Now I want to know what yours are in the comments below. Also, like this video, subscribe to Comic Frontline, check out and subscribe to my channel, The Comic Book Theater. Check out Comic Frontline, the site, for all the latest previews, reviews, news, and interviews. For even more news on all things related to comics, comicrelated.com is your source for all your comic book needs with daily updates. And don't forget to like and follow me and Comic Frontline on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. I'll include all these links in the description below. Until then, I'll catch you in the next review.